Yeah, so culture, remember, we've talked about this a little bit before, but culture is essentially shared mental models. So a mental model which is shared by the agents. We call them agents because an agent could be, a person, a group, a division, whatever, at whatever level that you're talking about in some kind of organization of any kind. So it could be family members in a family. Those are agents. So agents is just a generic term that we use in complexity for whatever the individual thing with agency is. Right. So it's important to understand culture is just a mental model that's shared by those folks. Remember, individual learning is a change in mental model.
Yes.
And organizational learning is simply a change in mental model shared by people. So change. So the only difference between culture and organizational learning is that it's a change going from one mental model to another, whereas culture is just there's a mental model that is shared, right?
Right.
Well, and remember that a mental model is made up of I/O, which I'm actually wearing the shirt today. Crazy. That was not on purpose.
But so it happened.
Which is information and organization, and the O is D, S, R, and P structure. So that's kind of an overview of getting us to what exactly do we mean when we say culture. We mean shared mental models among a bunch of people.
Yes, and I think one of the things that these equations highlight, and something that we've talked about a lot, is I think a lot of people believe culture just happens.
Yes.
Which it does.
It does.
There is a culture.
Yep.
But that you have the ability to shape that culture with purpose
100%.
Through communicating the desired mental models that you want to be shared.
Yeah, I mean, good marketing is just building culture, right? You're just you're just repetitively throwing mental models at people until they adopt them. Sometimes without even meaning to, like we see this in the processed foods industry and things like that, right? Which we've been talking about a lot lately. So when we talk about culture, we're talking about any and all mental models that start with, for example, the most important mental models, which is vision, mission, capacity, and learning of the organization. Mm. But it includes those mental models as well as many other mental models.
Yes.
And so when we talk about the culture code, we're kind of isolating one part of culture, one set of mental models, which for us and our organization really gets at this idea that competency of the individuals is predicated on character.
Yes.
And so our culture code mostly focuses on what we would typically call character. What is the character of people? Mm-hmm. In our organization. So the culture code is not the same as the culture. That's the important point I'm making.
Yes, it's a manifestation.
It's one part of the culture. Mm-hmm. The culture is universally all the mental models that are shared. Some are maladaptive, some are adaptive, some are good, some are bad. And what you want to do as a leader is make sure that the most important mental models are shared.
Yes.
And that if you start to see emergent mental models that are kind of going in the wrong direction or maladaptive, then you try to correct the culture in that way. That's very different from, I think, a lot of people's understanding of culture, which is kind of like, what you're wearing and how you dress and all these outward manifestations of culture.
Superficial things.
Yeah, they're sort of superficial. Superficial is the same, but I mean, it has negative connotations. I think of those as surface level or superficial.
Yeah.
Meaning it's not that they're unimportant. The swag that you wear is a manifestation of your culture, but it's not the same as the underlying model or mental model that kind of drives the swag, right? So the reason that the swag means something is because there's a mental model that gives it meaning.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just, emblazoned things on shirts, right? And it has no meaning whatsoever.
Right.